Yeah, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for having me. Um, my name is Ithiel. I'm a registered mental health nurse, originally from Ghana, and I'm happy to be here to share my experience. Just to say, most of my experience will be nursing-based because I'm a professional nurse, a registered mental health nurse. And then the experiences I'll share, some of them will be for myself and my colleagues that I've been supporting. So I have been a mental health nurse for the past 15 years. I've done a bit of teaching in Ghana, health training students, and I relocated to the UK in 2021 to join Southern Health as a mental health nurse. Currently, I'm in the role as a practice educator for international nurses, supporting our international nurses that join the trust. So that's a bit about me. And I want to say a big thank you to Tilia and her team for having me. I met Tilia when I had to do the Resilience and Advocacy CPD course at Beaumont Uni. And it's really been an insightful course for me because I had to learn how to be resilient myself and how to support my nurses. Okay, so just a bit on the images I have here. So today I'm going to talk about cultural change and integration for our internationally educated staff, and mostly we'll be talking about nurses. But I believe the principles apply everywhere to all health professionals that have to migrate. So I've got a bit of a picture up there with a finger indicating all, and I want to share a Ghanaian adage that we usually say that our fingers cannot be equal. All our fingers can never be equal. So we may have the same opportunities, but they are different. We interpret and grow in it in a different way. The same way we may all not have the same opportunities, but you just have to make it with what you have. Just imagine if all the fingers were just the thumb that we have, that would have been quite a bit weird. But yes, we have all the shapes, different sizes, different of fingers, which makes it a beautiful one for us. And so are we as individuals. We are quite different in our presentations and the unique features that we all carry. My second picture says that you leave the road and take the trail. Sometimes if you want new experiences, you just have to take a way out of the road and get some new experience, enjoy the breeze, enjoy the freshness that comes with taking the trail. And some of us have to leave the road and take the trail to be international professionals. I want you to do a bit of a little introduction by telling me what your favorite color is in the chat and why you like that color. If you could just give a quick chat edit for me. And I'm sure I'll get back to that a bit later. If you could just put in the chat what your favorite color is and why you like that color. So I just wanted to bring a bit picture on what culture is. I believe we are all professionals in social ways and have to deal with culture in several ways and have understood culture with different meanings. But I just want to have another look at culture. And I chose this picture because it had some subtle features we hardly pay attention to. Talking about manners that we usually don't even consider when it comes to culture. We don't think about what manners comes in, as well as the jokes that people share. We don't even pay that cultural note to it, that it also has some cultural features in it. So I personally think culture is anything that makes us who we are. Whichever way we find anything we think of, even the way we sleep, how we wake up, how you smile, it has some bit of culture in it that we need to pay attention to when we are dealing with individuals. So I asked us to put something in the chat. Tilly, I don't know if you had some comments on the colors and why we like the colors.
Well, we have a lot. Petunia said that blue because it suits her complexions. Green, says Julia, because it reminds her of nature. Jodie said blue because of the sea. Vibrant, energizing mystery of purple. Now, I love a bit of purple too. Blue is generally seen as calming, and green equals peace and nature. Amanda put brown as it's earthy and grounding, alongside green. Purple is calming, even if one has IT issues like Kate and probably everyone else. Daisy put yellow because it makes her feel jolly. Mark really likes pink. Kemi said red because it signifies boldness. Orange evokes warmth and happiness.
Wow.
So we've got a bit of a rainbow there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just chose for us to do this small exercise just for us to realize the beauty as individuals, how we see beauty. And as individuals in this room, even though some people may like green, but they have a different reason for liking green. Someone likes blue and had a different reason. Even among us, I think we have about 50 participants here, we all have different things that cheers us up. And there is a need for us to come together and recognize this diversity that we all have. If there is one thing COVID has taught us, one thing I've learned from COVID is that globally we are much connected than we think. There is so much closeness that COVID made us realize. Because if COVID, as we all know, probably said, started from China, and we could bring the whole world on our knees, cripple the whole healthcare system in the whole world, a pandemic that had to be dealt with for years, and we are still dealing with COVID, then there is the need for us to realize that we are much closer than we ever think, and still be collaborating and thinking of how to put the best of what we have in experiences. So for us to embrace diversity, to know that each and everyone has some unique beauty that we bring along to our teams, to wherever we work, whoever we're working with, we need to recognize that. We also need to acknowledge the skills and experiences that our international colleagues bring on board. I think when I started with Southern Health, I had like 13 years experience of being a nurse, being in various leadership positions. But as per the recruitment, I had to start from being a band 4. And just to give a bit of reflection on who a band 4 is, in terms of salary range, that's someone being paid between 25,000 to 27,000 per annum. So from 13 years of experience, we had to start from that level. We've had some colleagues that joined with 20 years, 25 years. Actually, the least experience, we did a survey last year for this year's conference at the International Nurses Conference by our team lead. And the least we had was 5 years. So people come along with a lot of experience that needs to be acknowledged and supported alongside. And then, just as I said earlier, we need to understand the uniqueness of the team members that we have. They come around with lots of experience, lots of differences that brings beauty into the teams that we find ourselves in. And then we need to maximize those experience and talents that they come with so that they can bring out their best, create that enabling environment where they can thrive and then survive very well in it. So there are several reasons people have stated for migrating, and there have been lots of global research around it, not just in the UK. There are several reasons why people have had to move to other countries to work, and most of them have stated career development, improved living conditions, better salaries. So they come with all these exuberance and mindsets to come and make things better for them. And some have to leave for maybe they're coming from a war-prone zone, or there is some threat to their life, and they are forced to migrate and work as international colleagues among us. So it's worth paying attention to some of these things. And then here comes some of the miseries that come with it. So when you are coming, they tell you, oh, the salary is good. And in fact, personally, comparing the salary they're going to give you to the exchange rate with our Ghana cedi from where I was coming from, it was good money. You think about it and you think that, yeah, everything is good. But when you come, the reality is coming, and then you realize that, oh, it's not just that rosy you thought it's going to be. And these are some of the challenges international colleagues had to deal with. It's not just nurses, but people who have to migrate have to deal with. Number one is our support system. You've had your families, you had built professional networks, you have built friendship, you have everyone around that kind of provide that sort of resilience for you when you need help, but you have to leave them behind. And for God knows how long you're able to reunite with your family and bring them back to you. It's really a difficult thing that comes with integration when people have to migrate or work as international colleagues. And in terms of culture shock, there are lots of differences in our cultures. When you come in, you realize that things are quite different in terms of language, what is accepted, what is not accepted, in terms of trying to even hear the accent and what people say, and some of the jokes that people have to share. Sometimes you have to force yourself to laugh, although you didn't hear what they kind of said. And some of them don't really make meaning to you. And one thing I found in the UK culture is they have a lot of terms that they use. It's just too much to take up whilst you are trying to integrate. So you have to learn to adjust to some of these things. And then having to also make your colleagues, your teammates understand the culture you are coming from and the kind of celebrations you're having. We are in the Christmas season. Back home, Christmas season is more outdoor. There are lots of outdoor activities, lots of programs, lots of concerts that people go, fun places you take the family to during the Christmas time. 24th, the 25th, the 26th, it's more outdoor, people celebrating. But you have to be in UK where everything shuts down. The shops don't open, buses don't go anywhere. So it's a big change that our international colleagues have to deal with when they come in. Talk about food, talk about when we are having a lunch or dinner, it's a heavy meal, it's soup, it's something heavy. You come and you go for programs and it's time for lunch and it's sandwiches, and people are not used to bread and sandwiches. And you have to learn to adjust to some of these things. Sometimes they may not even know where to get local foods to buy, where the local shops are. So some of these things comes with a bit of a shock when people come in and all they knew was everything was going to be rosy, and they had to adjust to some of these changes. And the issues of accommodation and bills. So when you come in as international nurses, you have to start, as I said, band 4 until you are registered. You have to write your final exam to get registered with the Nursing and Midwifery Council. And when you are successful, you get your PIN to now practice as a professional. So before that, that could take between 1 to 3 months when you come in, and you have to get accommodation. Fortunately, our trust provided 3 months of free accommodation for all international staff that were coming in. Some provide 1 month, but our trust provided 3 months, and we are grateful to them for that. After 3 months, you have to look for your own accommodation, and it's always a challenge trying to get guarantors, having the deposits to even get the accommodation. And sometimes you go around, you have to do lots of viewings. And if you had to bring the family, you have to get like a 2 or 3 bedroom, and the deposit you have to make for it. Sometimes some landlords don't want people with family. So it's always a difficulty during the initial stages when our staff migrate to join their teams that they find themselves in, and having to pay bills and accommodation, your bills taking up chunk of your income at the start of it is quite a difficult one to deal with. Same with transport systems. So some of them come in and it's difficult. You can't transfer your driving license here. You can use your international license for 1 year, but you have to learn how to drive in the system. And some of them are not used to the bus and the Google Maps and how to integrate with that one. Another issue that keeps going on is the immigration laws that keep changing. I'm sure everyone have heard from the news, the new changes that are coming in, that has been proposed, and it's sending lots of chills, shivers down people's spine, and people are quite concerned about their families, because if you have left your family for some time and now they're making it quite difficult for you to bring your family, laws keep changing all the time. You can work certain hours, you cannot work certain hours. Things keep changing all the time. So some of these things comes with integrating when our international staff have to join our teams. And it's worth that we take note of these things. Besides that, we also have integrating into our teams on the ward. It's been a bit of a challenge having to adjust to clinical work. Nursing, I found it's quite global. Healthcare is global. We do almost the same thing, but the policies and protocols are a bit different. And it's quite challenging getting into the teams. Sometimes there are difficulties with the teams accepting a new member into them, sometimes because probably they were not informed, they don't know much about the person. And a staff who is not new in the country, trying to deal with accommodation, family issues with no support, no network. And then they come to our teams and sometimes some people are a bit hostile. We've had comments be made about the kind of dress and people dress. Some people there are some comments like they laugh too much. The food they eat are not nice. So there's some things that you have to, those kind of microaggressions that you have to deal with when you are trying to join the team, as well as we've had incidents where some of our nurses have gone to work and they felt like they made a mistake joining the teams that they have come in. They felt they were not welcome in the team. They felt no one likes them. So if they had to deal with this and go back home to being lonely and depressed, crying all the time, it's been quite difficult for some of our nurses to deal with along the work politics that goes on. They are all a whole lot to deal with. So there's the need to have a look at how we integrate international staff that are joining us. How prepared are we to accept the changes that they are coming with, the skills that they are coming with, the beauty that they are joining our teams with. And then remembering that at the moment, they've not really established any support system. They don't have networks. Sometimes if they have to even talk to their families, they are on different time zones. So even though you've gone on a long day, a 14-hour, 13-hour shift, you're back home, you have to wait till midnight to make calls to talk to your family just to hear how they are doing and get that support for them. So there is the need to recognize some of these challenges as we work with our international colleagues, as we try to support them and provide an enabling environment so that we can all come together. As you see the strands on the picture in there, if it's tied very well, if it's twisted very well and the team works together, it gives a beautiful image, a beautiful pattern for us. But if we are loose and we are not working together, we are not really able to work effectively as expected. So these are some challenges that come along with integration as our colleagues joined us. So what we've realized have helped along the line for us as international nurses, what has really worked for my team, so has been that we've tried to provide as much pre-arrival information to the nurses before they come in, so that the expectations, they know the realities on the ground, so that they don't expect too much. Especially some of them come in and they are quick to bring their family in We try to let them understand that you need to come in and settle in well before you bring your family, understand the system, understand the culture. And then we had the issues of using ambassadors. So have some staff who have volunteered. When new people come in, they'll take them around, get them to understand the system, the transport system, get to know the shops where they can go, where they can find their religious centers like the mosques, the churches around, and how they can start establishing themselves as they settle in. We realized that if you don't have detailed induction for our nurses, they were really struggling clinically. So we've had to implement the practice education team, the team I work with. We have to come out with programs to support them to understand the protocols and how to settle, integration programs that we felt that will be helpful for them to understand the system and settle in. The supernumerary period, traditionally it was like 2 weeks for everyone who comes in, which we felt was not quite enough for people to understand the work environment they may find themselves in. So we had to advocate for some extensions of the supernumerary period and to regularly evaluate and assess the progress of the staff that come in individually. So there's been a lot of support in terms of integrating, which we felt has made a lot of difference. We've had to institute forums for them where we have them come in, we talk about different topics that are helping them. We have to put in place career progression. So it's not just enough bringing the international colleagues to join our teams, but how do we match their skills and experience that they come in so that they always feel welcome among our teams. So my humble plea has and will always be that we be as compassionate as we can to our international colleagues who are now trying to settle in. They've got the skills, they've got the knowledge to make our teams beautiful, but we need to support them. I must say that I've got my team on the call here to support me, and I'm very happy because I'm working with a team that has created the environment for me to thrive, to support my skills and support us. I've got my manager on the call here just to cheer me up. And that is the beauty of it when you work within teams that are supportive of your skills and ready to help you. It even improves your well-being. So please that at least help them, coach them along the line. Be a support as they come in and they're trying to settle in so that we can all together see the beauty and achieve the goal we want to achieve. Guide and support them, at least make a difference in their life. Make them remember you, that you were there when they were at the start of the tunnel and along the line you've been there. Try to be as kind as you can to everyone so that our international colleagues can excel and thrive in the teams and then can bring out the best that they have brought to join the team. Before I end my session, I just want us to kindly take up a pledge. There is a link. I'll probably put the link in the chat and then those who can scan, you can scan this one. It will take you to a Padlet. Just tell us after this session, what are you going to do differently? What have you learned from just this short time with you about my experience and the experience of my colleagues? And then I don't know, maybe you have worked with, you're a leader who have a member of your team being international, or you have a team member who is. How can we do things differently? Would you have reacted or supported differently if you knew this from the start, if you knew the background of, you had this background information about colleagues that you are working with? How can we make things different? I'll just let you go on. You can scan, you can use the link in it to put up your comments and your pledge on what we can do differently. We can all make things different. We can all make it better as much as we can. So just for some few minutes, about 2 minutes, that we go on it. I'll leave this on. But I don't know if we had any questions and comments in the chat, Tivia, if you want to bring that up. But beside that, before I end my session, I'll come back to this slide again, but I just want to say that one thing I've learned is we can all make a difference, no matter how small it is. If we haven't started this, the second best time for us to make that difference is now. So let's make our colleagues feel welcome. Thank you so much for your audience. Thanks for listening to me. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them now. But I'll go back to the Padlet slide, so that's many that have not been able to go back to it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tilia.
Thank you. I think there's not been much question as such. No, but if anyone has a question, there's quite a bit of applause for you there in the chat. So if anyone has some questions, personally, it's left me with a lot of food for thought there. And I will definitely take away that picture that you shared of the different strands to make actually the rope so much stronger, because we need those different strands. Just a single strand is not going to be good enough. So thank you for sharing that. Now the Padlet is quite busy, so if you want to have a look at that, that's probably a good time to do it now.
Okay.
Yeah, there were some comments that you've captured the international experience really well, Ithiel, so thank you. Probably should work if you press on the extend at the right top, because we can see the Padlet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. We can all see that.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and the contribution. And I hope that this will make us see our international colleagues in a different way and give them the needed support so that we can see the beauty that they bring to our teams. Thank you.
Thank you, Ithiel. It was a pleasure to listen. And I think there were some questions in the chat about visa changes and immigration. Now, I shared in the chat that I've lived in the UK now for 18 years, and I came over with my family. This was all well before Brexit scenarios. And whilst I'm still in a position where I can't even vote because I hold the German passport, I do have a view on immigration, and for me, I feel that every human has the right to be in the place where they feel safe and they feel at home. That may not be the place where they were born. I feel probably quite strongly that I wish for every human to find that place where they identify as being at home, wherever that may be.
Thank you.
And with that, thank you, Ithiel. Much appreciated. Lots of food for thought there.